Ladies and gentlemen, as of 19th of December 2025, the streets of Dhaka and beyond are ablaze with protests, arson, mob violence following the death of a prominent youth leader. This isn't just a flashpoint. It's the culmination of months of political turmoil, economic hardship and rising extremism. The immediate trigger for the latest wave of unrest is the death of Sharif Osman Hadi, a key figure in the 2024 student-led uprising that toppled former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Hadi, seen as a symbol of the pro-democracy movement, died after he was assassinated. Now, what started as mourning has spiraled into destruction. Offices of major newspapers like the Daily Star, Prothom Alo and the New Age were vandalized and set ablaze, putting journalists' lives at risk in what critics call an assault on free speech. A Hindu man, Deepu Chandra Das, was lynched amid the chaos, and this is a grim reminder of the targeted minority violence. Anti-India rhetoric has surged, with slogans accusing New Delhi of meddling, including alleged involvement in Hadi's death with absolutely no proof whatsoever. Protesters have marched on diplomatic missions, leading to heightened security at the Bangladesh High Commission in New Delhi. Tonight, we'll break down the what, the why, and what it means for Bangladesh and the entire region.
An ordinary day in Bangladesh translated into violence. Under broad daylight, on the 12th of December, unidentified gunmen shot down Sharif Osman Hadi. An extremist who claimed of attacking India's northeast. He was a secessionist who failed to break Bharat. With Hadi's killing, there's complete anarchy in Bangladesh. Media house offices torched. Indian embassy surrounded. Sheikh Mujibur's residence vandalized. What has unfolded in Dhaka over the last 24 hours is a testament to the fact that it's a free-for-all rule in Bangladesh.
The Yunus regime wanted to instigate his extremists and their handful of followers with the help of other fanatic political parties and start a riot across the country. So the objective is to primarily delay the election that they themselves are talking about.
The anti-India rhetoric has been undeniable.
Very well planned, as Yunus said, meticulously designed regime change operation with Jamaat-e-Islami in full control. Now, Jamaat-e-Islami and the other Islamist organizations are still calling all the shots. Now, they're using this instance of the attack on this leader who has now died, Osman Hadi, to bring in anti-Indianism. Within seconds of this attack on him, they had called in the Indian High Commissioner in Dhaka and told him that India has done this and so on. And we know that every person whom you call from Bangladesh will say that. You know, this person is in India, we want him back. Sheikh Hasina is in India, we want her back. So this is a deliberate attempt to fan anti-Indianism and to disguise the fact that Muhammad Yunus is unable to control the situation in Bangladesh.
But the question is, for how long can the Yunus regime turn a blind eye?
There's a concerted effort that is now being made currently in Bangladesh to blame India for what's really happening on the ground. In fact, they're saying that since India is protecting the former Prime Minister of Bangladesh, That is the reason why they're demanding action to be taken. And Yunus's government has been silent on this entire matter. Joining me tonight on This Is Exclusive is the former Education Minister of Bangladesh, who was essentially seen as the rising star within the Awami League party. In fact, also seen as a close aide of former Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina. Mohibul Hasan Chaudhry, thank you very much for joining me on This Is Exclusive tonight. Let me begin by asking you, grim moments currently in Bangladesh, but the entire blame, it seems, is now being heaped on India. In fact, in a short while from now, Mohibul, I'm going to put out some data of how the Pakistani ISI is essentially trying to coordinate all of this. I'm going to put out the details. I've just received an information from a source of mine. But till that time, Mohibul, could you just tell us what's really happening? What's the assessment that you all are making? And how are things going out of control now?
You see, the regime itself has orchestrated this violence. Two ministers of their government, straight after resigning from their position, has gone to the main Shahbag Square of Dhaka and has called for revenge. They have literally said that we want blood for blood. We are ready to be martyred for the cause. So just like how jihadists agitate the masses, that's how they have placed themselves to their audience. And in a pre-planned manner, they have targeted homes of Awami Leaguers. They have targeted Indian High Commission establishment and also news media outlets, which they consider, although at one point these outlets have supported them and glorified them, now they feel that they have to be also attacked because they are liberal. So that is what is happening in Bangladesh, and it is supported, assisted, planned, and deployed by the government itself, government of the day. When we were in charge for 15 years, whenever there was any attempt by these fringe elements of society, we had used the same law enforcement establishment, the security establishment, the intelligence community to curb their violence, to regulate them, to monitor them, and at times put them behind the bars. But as soon as this regime has taken power in Bangladesh, they have freed all the militant leaders. They have invited.
I've lost that line with Mohibul Hasan Chaudhry, the former Education Minister of Bangladesh. Till the time we try and get him back, I'm going to just quickly take you through the live visuals now coming in from Shahbag in Dhaka, where the protest still continues. Now, interestingly, what you are essentially seeing on your screens, many of these are part of radical groups, part of Jamaat, who have essentially tried to spread an anti-India propaganda. In fact, Mohibul is back with us. Mohibul, the question that I wanted to also ask you is that who are these people? Who are these youth groups that we are talking about? Because it seems somewhere down the line, particularly the Western nations, have started taking this entire propaganda by saying that, look here, these are impromptu protests that are taking place on the streets of Dhaka, and there is growing anger against Sheikh Hasina. These are, very organic in nature. That's the argument that is being made by these groups, the so-called youth groups.
Of course, there's nothing organic about it. When you hear how the government advisors had been speaking, what they were claiming out in the public, and how they were agitating the masses, there's nothing organic about it. All the preparations that they have taken, for example, they went to my home with gunpowder in hand. I mean, you can't buy gunpowder from a street vendor, right? So these people are prepared with whatever they have to cause this kind of anarchy. I mean, if you want to plan a crowd in Dhaka, it requires planning. It requires some level of, organization. And they had been doing it with the help of the government in place. And if you look at the behavior of the law enforcement, the police and the army, which have been deployed, the army was in deployment in the Dhaka city, not much response, absolutely complicit. Only when they have found out some of their journalists, namely Mr. Shahidul and others, who were glorifying these individuals, were stuck inside the Daily Star building. Then the army turned up and went to rescue them. But only when their interests are having to be protected, they are acting. Otherwise, they're just being silent observers. These elements were always there in the country. We've always known them, and they have gathered all their strength in the Dhaka city. It's not across the country. These are fringe elements. Chayanot, a cultural organization, has nothing to do with any kind of protest or anything. It's just a Bengali secular establishment where music is taught. You know, that's how they're targeting.
If you can just hold on to your thoughts, because I'm just putting out more details, because just before the show, when I also spoke to some of my sources to get a sense of what's really happening, why exactly suddenly is India being blamed? Now, I've just got details that Pakistani-backed ISI social media handles are essentially behind this entire propaganda. And it seems that the Jamaat-e-Islami and its student wing, the Islamic Chhatra Shibir, are the ones who are essentially behind this. And it seems the primary aim of the ISI was to basically ensure that Bangladesh descends into chaos. And this is similar to the pattern one saw during the students' uprising that led to the ouster of Sheikh Hasina. In fact, Indian agencies found out that many of the ISI-backed handles were active in large numbers, spreading fake information which clearly had a strong anti-India fervor. And ISI-backed social media handles are actually behind it. So, you know, if you actually ask anyone, Mohibul, from the Yunus administration, they would say that this is Indian propaganda. But I'm just putting out more details of which are these handles. And the Jamaat-e-Islami that was banned by Sheikh Hasina is now playing a frontal role in this entire thing.
It's not just Pakistan's military officials who have been visiting Bangladesh for the last 15 months. Known key position holders of ISI had been visiting the country, and also the political outfits who are routinely assisted by the ISI. For example, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Lashkar-e-Taiba, and the likes of Maulana Fazlur Rahman. They had been visiting Bangladesh for the last 15 months with state protocol. When you have a government who is inviting these elements into the country, who have signed an agreement with Pakistan where containers can come without being checked or scanned, who have this no visa regime with Pakistan, whoever comes from Pakistan now gets a straightforward visa. I mean, all of this points out to a close collaboration between ISI operatives and their political and terror outfits and the regime in government in Bangladesh, the Yunus regime. Unless this regime is changed, is toppled, and the military, which is now the power broker in the country, removes its support from this regime, they will continue to do what they have been doing for the last 16 months.
Mohibul Hasan Chaudhry, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure having you on my show and for putting this into perspective, because it is important that the world actually gets both sides, views of both sides. And we've also said that if at all there were certain acts that are to be probed, then there should be a free trial that should actually take place. Free and fair trial should be actually given to Sheikh Hasina at this point in time, rather than carrying out a sham tribunal. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the former Education Minister of Bangladesh joining us on this broadcast. Now, I'm going to take you to the border areas where the fallout in Dhaka is essentially showing ripple effect. Thousands have actually gathered at the Petropol border that is close to the Bangladesh area, raising anti-India slogans. So what you're essentially witnessing is that this is an attempt that is being made to target India. And that is the reason why we need to be extremely careful about the developments that are taking place in Bangladesh. Take a look.
असंत बांग्लादेश आज बेनापोल बॉर्डर में इंडिया का विरोध करके स्लोगनिंग किया बांग्लादेश का आदमी में इसके ऊपर नजर रख रहे हमारा इंडिया का बीएसएफ जवान ये बार बार जो बांग्लादेश में जो अशांति चल रहा है इसका आज कभी इंडिया में नहीं आ जाएगा, इसलिए हमारा इंडिया का बीएसएफ में हर टाइम सजग दृष्टि रख रहे और पेट्रापोल सीमांत में जो बीएसएफ में जो उनका स्ट्रेंथ बढ़ा है, बीएसएफ का हर टाइम नजर रख रहा, बीएसएफ हर टाइम इंडिया सिक्योरिटी देने के लिए तैयार है। बेनापोल साइड से घुसपैठिया बार बार है, ये जो घुसपैठिया ये जो अभी हलचल है इसका अंदर में इस साइड में नहीं आ सकते हैं, इसलिए भी हमारा बीएसएफ में हर टाइम सजग दृष्टि रख रहा है।
Well, shift to focus now to the other big story that we are tracking extremely closely. In fact, it's a Republic investigation. We're going to put out all the details. Ladies and gentlemen, as we have been saying, India's oldest mountain range, in fact, is facing a silent but a devastating erasure. This time, not by nature, but by law. The Aravali's, North India's natural shield, are now under threat after a court order redefined what qualifies as a Aravali hill, stating only landforms above 100 meters count. The impact is staggering. Over 91% of the range could actually lose legal protection, opening the door to unchecked mining. Already illegal quarrying has scarred a quarter of the Aravali's wiped out 31 hill ranges in Rajasthan. Now, if the Aravalis actually fall, the ecological balance of North India falls with them. While mining to a certain extent has actually been allowed, it seems that rampant mining is actually taking place. And after this particular order that comes into picture, it seems that it is going to be a complete free run for those who are seen as the mining giants. Earlier today, my colleague Shambhavi traveled from the national capital to areas that have been worst affected, and that happens to be the Aravali ranges in Rajasthan. Rajasthan happens to be one of the worst affected areas. It seems that the protests have been going on for a very, very long time, but there has been absolutely no national spotlight on this entire issue. Tonight, I'm going to go across to my colleague Shambhavi, who's through the day carried out this entire investigation. In fact, as we speak, on your cameras, ladies and gentlemen, tonight you're going to see yet another violation. And all of this captured on our television screen. I'm going to go over to Shambhavi right now. Shambhavi, first tell our viewers, where exactly are you in? What kind of illegal activities are taking place? You have spoken to a lot of people through the day. Give us a clear understanding, and I want you to all through focus on that illegal activity is going on as you speak right now.
Well, we are at Pawana Ahir, which is a very secluded village at Rajasthan, and till now we have covered around 3 villages, and one thing has been common, that is illegal mining all throughout the Aravali hills. And right now I'll show you the situation because it is caught on our camera. As you can see, there are 3 trucks. When we came here, when Republic came here, this was a well-lit area. Mining was going on, and as per the DGMC order, which is Directorate General of Mine Safety, DGMS's order, no mining is allowed post sunset. So the allowed time period is between sunrise to sunset. But we reached here around half an hour ago, and this entire area I am showing you, which is pitch dark right now, this was completely well lit. There you can see there are 3 trucks who are functioning, who are carrying out the mining, illegal mining of that sorts. And the moment they saw us arriving, they started turning off the lights one by one. All these trucks who were working, they became stationary, and now this entire area, which was very well lit just 15 minutes ago, is completely pitch black. Now, even if you see, we'll also show you just a few meters ahead from us, a small light. That is the only light which is still there, which is not even 2% of the light, how well lit this area was. And that is where this entire area, there was mining going on against the law, against the order. And after being reminded n number of times, they still continue to do this. And this has been a common practice in all the villages that we have covered till now. And the locals have told us that this remains to be similar all throughout the Aravali Hills, and this is before the Supreme Court has accepted the new definition of Aravali Hills. Aravali Hills and several of its mountains have been chopped off from the top so that they don't qualify the 100-meter criteria, which is no mountain which is below the 100 meters will be considered a part of Aravali Hills. Thus, it will lose protection. It will lose government protection, and it'll be open to corporate affairs, to construction, to mining, and illegal mining for that matter. Once again, I'm going to show you this entire area, this mining zone that you see, which spans around 2 villages at Pawana Ahir village. Three trucks are pretty clear, pretty visible right now. They were lit up, this entire area, several huge lights, but within a matter of 5 minutes, the moment they saw us approaching them, the moment they saw us coming, they've managed to turn off every single light. They also turned off their trucks. The trucks are stationary. The people, you can still spot people who are sitting inside using their phones inside the truck. You can see in all the 3 trucks, you can still see the movement. So they are still there. There was mining, illegal mining going on. And when Republic came at that spot, they stopped all the activity. Back to you.
I want you to continue speaking to us. I'm going to stay full frame right now, not coming out of Shambhavi right now. Shambhavi, just stay full frame. Over the next couple of minutes, next 2 minutes, I just want you to constantly focus, tell our viewers, is this an open defiance of the court order? What is it that you witnessed over the last couple of minutes? Did you try speaking to any of the officials? What are they saying there? And keep your cameras completely focused on those trucks and those limestone stone crushers that are there placed in those areas in Kotputli in Aravali.
Absolutely. We'll again show you the scene here, the scenario. And there has been not 1, not 2, but more than 4 violations at once at every mining site that we have. First is these organizations, these corporations, they make sure that they get a lease for a cheap material, which is for most of the cases limestone. But we haven't seen a single limestone mining going on. In each of those registered limestone mining lease, there has been cement mining going on. There has been some other construction material mining going on, and they've broken every single law which is related to this mining. And this is the exact picture that we are showing you right now. The exact location you can also see in the recorded video in this area, this very well lit area. Telling you, just 15 minutes ago, this area was very well lit. You couldn't even have felt that you are, out of the city. But immediately we saw this entire area go pitch dark, pitch black within 5 minutes. I'll also show you quickly. I'll show you the person who's sitting inside the truck, who's still sitting inside the truck. He continues to he's speaking. He's trying to see if he is still there so that they can go on their merry way and begin their illegal mining, go ahead with their illegal mining. He keeps on peeking. Even this person in the truck, you can see the screen of his phone from inside the truck. So you know that this is not some random empty truck which is just standing there. There was some activity going on. That is why all these 3 trucks have a driver. I'll also ask you to please try to listen. You can still hear some of the sound. Now, on the other side of these hills, there is still illegal mining going on. I am going to stay quiet just for 3 seconds, and I'll see if you can hear the sound of the mining against the order, against the law. This is the sound which is going on the other end. We'll try and we'll go there as well, and we'll show you their reaction, how I'm very sure they'll also shut off their operations, because even on that end you can see that small amount of light on that end. That is also, there were people, they ran away the moment they saw us approaching them. There's nobody there. There are a few people who still keep on peeking. You see, there is, the moment they saw the camera look the other way, and this truck right here,
Shambhavi,
we'll show you this truck right here if you can see.
Shambhavi, I'm sorry I had to interrupt you. We're running out of time, but I'll just request you stay put there. We're going to put out the full report right now. This is the exclusive that we have got to you tonight. How exactly are the Aravalis are now being destroyed, ladies and gentlemen? A Republic campaign to save the Aravalis. That's all that we could pack in this edition of This is Exclusive. Coming up, trending on the other side.